Clap, Joyce. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
When do you go?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Mentor Me Mondays. Yay! So we're back tonight with Lawson. Say hey, Lawson.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, so we're back tonight with Lawson, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more in depth about superannuation, because it's just one of those topics that nobody's interested in until they actually retire, and then they go, oh my goodness, I've got no money to retire on, I've got to work for the rest of my living life. So we have with us tonight, we have on our far end,
Johnny.
and next to him,
Rejoice.
and I'm Wendy, of course, and the hostess with the mostest. So Lawson, welcome back.
Thank you.
You've been keeping well?
I have been keeping well,
Yes.
or trying to. Well,
Yes.
Actually, I shouldn't use the word try. I have been keeping
You
well.
have been keeping well. That's good. That's good. All right. So I'm going to kick it off tonight. Right? This morning. I'm going to kick it off tonight, and we're going to be doing this in a 2-part series. Okay. So because I think it's quite a lot of information, and we want people to be able to refer back to this. Mm-hmm. So, Lawson, can you just, in the most simplest way, tell us what superannuation is and why Australians should care about it? Okay.
Superannuation is, I guess, let's call it our retirement system, our retirement savings system in Australia.
Okay.
It's compulsory for those that are working, and your employer contributes into your superannuation for you. Mm-hmm. So any adult that starts working and is earning some money, it's a great system, because not all countries have that sort of system in place.
Yep.
We've got a great one. So, and starting this year, your employer contributes 12% of your gross amount of money that you earn into your superannuation. So it's gone up from 11.5% from last financial year. Mm-hmm. So it's a great way to save for your retirement, or to be self-funded, so to speak. And it also alleviates all the pressure on our age pension system. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how would you explain to somebody in their 20s who actually think that retirement's too far away? Why should I be bothered with superannuation?
So that's quite interesting. So for people under 20, is really explain to them, this is your piggy bank. Yes, you don't get to touch it, but it's going to be come in handy at some point. Bearing in mind, most people don't see past 20 in their minds. They can't imagine life after 30 or 35. Yeah, so it is important. So the discussion is really around this. This is your future. It may not pay off, or look like it's going to pay off right now, but it's important for you to actually be aware of what you're getting. Look, initially, it's something they have to have anyway. That's number one. Your employer is going to contribute anyway. That's number two. So maybe the conversation is not necessarily around them putting in additional contributions, but being aware that they are entitled to superannuation. As an employer, set up one for you. Yep. Are your contributions going in? And then the third part is, what are you invested in?
Okay.
In that super fund. So it's important to know that, because it's not like they have a choice. As long as you're working and you're earning a certain amount of money, and employers have to pay superannuation contributions. So you're going to have a superannuation anyway. So it's important to be aware of it.
So we have superannuation. Your employer pays into it,
yes,
right? We can choose to contribute if we want.
Yes.
Something you actually mentioned was about what's it being invested in.
That's correct.
Right? So for me, are all superannuation accounts using some sort of investment scheme?
Okay. So there's some sort of investment scheme. Yes. Yeah. So all superannuations, once your contributions go in, money is supposed to be invested. Now there's different types of investments every superannuation has, and you have the choice of where your money is invested. Okay. If you don't make that choice, the superannuations will put you in a default fund. Okay. Most superannuations, there's different types of superannuations in terms of who runs them. So we've got what we call the industry supers that are usually associated with a union of sorts. So, your HESTA, which is usually health workers are invested in that. I'm not giving a plug to any super in particular, but I'm just mentioning some that are non-Australian super. There's a whole bunch of them that are industry funds. There are some that are offered what we just call retail funds by the banks or former insurance companies. So they're offered as well. So within those superannuations, there is different investment strategies.
Yeah.
So different funds that you can invest in. Some, let's call it, some can be low risk.
Yeah.
So it's normally you'll find that on your statements or in the super fund, it might be called a conservative fund.
Yep.
So it may not be exposed to growth assets, that, not using jargon there. That can be like your shares or property or things like that within the super fund. And then most people usually go balanced and more aggressive. But it's really dependent on your attitude to risk or what you perceive to be risk. And I also say age, because somebody that's 60 and nearing retirement may not probably want to be very aggressive in how they invested, versus somebody that's 20 and has got another 40 years of work and is looking at actually growing that super. So that's why it's important to understand how your superannuation is invested.
Yeah.
And keep tabs on it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Joyce, you got a question for Lawson there?
Oh, so many questions. I think the main thing that I knew about super was that a part of my pay goes into it. That the employer, well, not a part of my pay, but like my employer pays some of that. That's all I knew about super. Yeah. I didn't know about personal contributions.
Okay.
So that's crazy. How does it work? Like.
Okay, so we'll just take a step back and go on with the first statement you just made. So if you're earning, let's use $100,000 for argument's sake a year, your employer puts in 12% of that. So technically, when somebody says I earn $100,000, your full package is actually $112,000. The $12,000 goes into super. $100,000 is what you get, and this gets taxed by the taxman. That contribution of 12%, most employers, obviously, they take it out of your package, or they show that on your payslip every fortnight. It usually goes in maybe once every 3 months. They actually send it to the super fund. Some send it regularly. When it goes into super, it is taxed at 15%. So that's all contributions going in. Not all, by the way, sorry, I'll just explain. So personal contributions come in two forms. One, you can actually tell your employer that you want to salary sacrifice.
Okay.
All right, which basically means you're opting to have some more, an additional amount of contributions paid into your super before you get paid. So
pre-tax.
Pre-tax. So your $100,000, I want X amount to be put in. Now, so that means that you are getting a tax benefit for it. Those particular contributions are actually called concessional contributions. Okay, so concessional contributions just means they'll be taxed at 15%, and you may get a tax benefit, and the employer has put in some. That includes employer contributions, right? So there's a cap for that. There's $30,000 in total a year that can be put in. So if you're earning $100,000, 12% of that is $12,000. That means you've got another, how much is that? $18,000. So you could either, well done. you could either so you could either put in an additional $18,000 if you can afford it, and but pre-tax. So that basically means you're getting a benefit for that, and you could pay 15% going in.
That's really good.
For self-employed people, they may put in that money and claim a tax deduction after the fact. Okay. Whereas for you as an employee, they'll take it out, and it will show it will reflect that on your pay slip, and it will show that you've paid less tax. So that's what makes that's one part of personal contributions with under concessional contributions. Yeah. You can actually put in personal contributions with your own savings after tax dollars. That's called a non-concessional contribution. Okay, so you've already paid tax on it. You've decided you want to put in extra money. When it goes into the super fund, it doesn't pay any tax because you've already paid You've already paid tax. You've already paid tax on it. Okay. For that, you can put in up to $110,000 a year, right? Or you can bring forward 3 years and pay $330,000 if you've got money.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one part of it. And just to go back on the pre-tax ones, if for the last 5 years you haven't been putting in your look. The concessional cap has gone up over the years. It was 27.5. It's now 30. So you can, if you haven't maxed out that 30 grand, you can look back 5 years and carry forward those amounts and actually just pay in a lump sum to cover the 5 years you haven't actually kept it.
Okay.
Is there any risk to that?
What's the risk?
There's risk.
There's always risk in everything. However, okay, so from a contribution point of view,
Yeah.
if you're making personal contributions or concessional contributions, you're getting a tax benefit. So,
Yes.
and number two, you're growing your superannuation.
Yeah.
That's the second part. In superannuation, yes, there's ups and downs and how the investments that you invested in, but we're assuming you're going to be there for a long time. So, there's always going to be that. There's always going to be ups and downs in any investment, but over the long term, and how you invested actually matters.
Yeah.
All right. And the other thing is, even when the markets are down, you're continuing to contribute. So you're actually buying when the markets are low. So when the markets are going back up, your super balance should look really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you never really look at it that way because all you ever hear is people saying, especially those that are coming closer to retirement, they are so concerned about what the market's doing. But from what you've just said now, it makes you think of it the other way where you're still contributing to it. So when the market bounces back, then your super's going to look quite healthy again. So
that's it. And so
Okay.
so it's important. It's like and so think of it in the terms of a 20-year-old.
yeah,
45 years of work,
yeah,
and you're consistent in contributing. A mortgage is 30 years.
yeah,
So you're paying off a $1 million property in 30 years, we hope.
yeah.
So what do you think your super balance will look like if you're continuously contributing over the
Contributing
next
to it.
45 years?
Yeah.
And consistent. And bearing in mind, if you're young, you may start off earning less, and as you're getting older, you're earning more. So that 12% that we're talking about looks a lot bigger.
Yes.
Is a lot bigger
Yeah.
over time.
So what's the simplest way to start making extra contributions?
Okay, so we'll touch on another part of financial planning. So depending on your budget, I guess, on how you're spending your money, what you're earning, it's important to actually sit down and make an effort to say, look, I say to people, it's not a lot of money that you need to put in. Even if you start putting in an additional $50, it still compounds over time, $100 or whatever you can save. So or you can afford to put in, or the sooner you start, the better.
Yeah.
Because if you actually think of it in terms of what you have as your wealth as a young person, the truth is at 20 or 21, if you're not a good saver, your biggest asset is actually your super fund. Because it's for savings. Somebody's putting money away for you on your behalf because it's compulsory. So if you look at what you've got in your bank and what you've got in your super, chances are you probably got more money in that. Remember, people start working at 15 in Australia, 16. So even if we say you're earning enough money and you've been only contributing from the age of 18, by 20 you've got 2 years of contributions and growth. 21, 25, so you're not too young. So the younger you start, the better. Yeah.
Okay. So we had an immigrant to Australia who was very skeptical, probably from Africa. Very skeptical about this super thing. So they've got a question, right? Which I also had these questions initially when I first came to Australia. What are the key benefits of making extra contributions to super, even small amounts over long term? And is there an example that you have?
Yeah, there is benefit of doing that. Well, for an immigrant or skilled migrant, let's take that. Like you, or Johnny, to an extent, you're both. You're everything, actually. You've come to Australia, you're already have a certain skill. You got a job, you're starting out, and you're a certain age. So let's just say Johnny came and arrived in Australia, and he was 30 years old.
Yep.
So if we take an Australian Johnny, who's had the same journey, did an apprenticeship or trade, started working at the age of 16, has done a trade, and were fully qualified at 20. They've had super since they were 16.
Yeah.
They've been contributing for the last 14 years. So by the time you fly in from wherever you're coming in, you've got zero balance in super. They've got a significant amount of superannuation by that time, even if they're not making personal contributions.
Yeah.
So number one, it's important now that you've the things I'll be talking about is this is a very important part of your journey to Australia.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, you don't have a choice, right? You're working, your employer is going to put this away, so it's important that you are actually engaged and you understand. Strangely enough, most immigrants understand retirement.
Yep.
They understand the fact that you need a pension.
Yes.
Because some are
Yeah.
coming from countries that no longer have that. So they understand that. So
Yeah.
the struggle is really playing catch up.
Yeah.
So the conversation is around, all right, this is where we are, you're earning decent money, the contributions are being made. Can you salary sacrifice or put in extra money into super? Can you make additional contributions? It's important because at that time, I'm thinking I've lost 14 years.
You got to play catch
I've got to
up.
play catch up for 35 years. Let's work on that. And if you're a woman that's going to get married and have kids, you're going to be off work for a period of time. So you'll find that balances may differ there for people that then take maternity leave. You don't have income at that time, and there's no contributions going in. So it's important to be engaged. But you know, you've started early, you've got contributions, and
Yeah.
it still matters at the end of the day. So I don't know if that's answered the question on what do you do. Yes, be engaged.
Yep.
Employer contributions are going in. Make any extra contributions you can.
Yep.
Again, I'll refer to the fact that that's probably in the beginning. If you're an immigrant, if you don't have anything in your saving to buy a house or whatever, that's probably your biggest savings when you arrive here, because your employer has already started putting in contributions on your behalf.
That's the best. I like that. Okay. I like it. Winnie?
Yeah. All right. So we've touched already on the concessional, like the before tax and non-concessional, so after tax. We've already touched on that. So what's the general rule of thumb though? Which one would you go with? Before tax or after tax, or like?
Both, if you can.
Okay. Do both.
Yeah, because
Okay.
one, you've got, that's why there's caps, right?
Yep.
The before tax, which is concessional contributions, depending on how much you're earning, because obviously if you're earning a large amount of money, you're probably going to be closer to that cap of $30,000. So you can only salary sacrifice or pay before tax contributions of a certain amount, right?
Okay. Yep.
But if you've got room to move, then put in that, because you're getting a tax benefit, so it makes sense. And look, the limit is 30,000, so you're not going to be going beyond that. But so if you want to put in extra, then the after tax dollars come into play.
Okay.
So if you can do both, that's one, you've maxed that, you get a tax benefit for it because you're paying less tax outside super, and then, oh look, I've got a little bit of extra dollars I can put in, then why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
That's how I look. I would do both depending on your situation. But yeah.
Oh yeah, when things go good, you get like a lump sum of money. Just put that lump sum in there.
Because that's the thing. Sometimes you go buy a luxury vehicle, or do you put money in super? You know, there's different situations where it becomes quite handy, because there's going to be some tax of some sort that you have to pay. So if it can benefit you in some way, that's a double benefit. One, you get a tax benefit. Number two, you're growing your superannuation for your future retirement.
There you go. Talking about retirement, Josh.
Crazy, right? I'm like, my brain is fried.
You're still young. I think it's great. Yeah.
An advantage.
Yeah, and an advantage. Yeah. Yeah. Us that are nearing a little bit closer to retirement are like, okay.
I think the other day someone at work was commenting on how the retirement age is going to be higher by the time we go to retire. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, retirement could be higher, but I mean, like right now, I think, and I'll just explain on the super fund and accessing it, because a lot of people want to know when they can access that superannuation.
That's what I want.
You want to? Because on paper, really, your retirement age is 65, right, or 66 for some. But if you're 60 and fully retired, you can actually access your super. So that's the age that you can, preservation age, where you can actually access the superannuation. All right. And in Australia, the beauty of it is accessing your super when you're retired. Any money you're pulling out of super is tax free. So
Because you've already paid the tax on it.
So it's tax free. So so you can contribute until 60 years. Retirement age may be extended, but you may be, there's other strategies we can put in place for you to now have a tax benefit and work around that. There's strategies we can put in place for that. Well, maybe it's a good thing because it just basically means that you stay young while you're working and you probably
That's
have
true.
a substantial amount of money after the age of 65. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. No.
So how important is super when it comes to building enough wealth for retirement? I guess especially for people who may not have large savings or investments outside.
It's very important because for most people that can't save, that's the first savings.
Yeah.
And so that might be the only thing they might have. So if you actually think of it, which I mentioned before, if you think of the average Australian person, as we get older, our dream is to own a house. So we're going to borrow money and purchase a house and save a deposit and purchase a house. Besides your home, your biggest asset really is super. The next biggest asset is superannuation. If you actually think on it, if you actually think about the forced savings. So you will find that in some cases, because the super money is there, there's no debt on it, there's money in there, and you might have a big debt on a home and not have a lot of equity. So your equity might not be as equal to your superannuation. So at certain points in your life, that may actually be your biggest asset.
Yeah.
That you have.
Okay.
Yes, there's good people that save, but this particular one is I keep going back to the fact that it's compulsory and the fact that the government insists that as long as you're working and you're earning money, and there's all these tax benefits of doing it, then you'll find that almost every adult Australian that works has a superannuation account. Yeah. Okay. So it is very important.
Sorry, I'm going to ask another question.
Yes.
Because you were saying how almost every Australian has an account. What about those that have like several accounts? Right? Because I was one of those people at one time.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, so before, you know what's interesting? That is significantly reduced.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people had a lot of superannuations. Because back in the day, somebody would start a job here, you get a superannuation account opened by employer, you move employers open another account, and then the government introduced choice of fund. Because prior to that, you don't have a choice. Whatever the employer said you're going to have, they use is what they're going to use. It was to make it life easy for them in terms of administration. But everything is, there's technology now. It's quite easy to contribute to various superannuations for a whole bunch of employees. So you'll find that there was almost a period there where, the campaign was consolidate your super, get a few superannuations. And then they also introduced the fact that if a superannuation fund is inactive, it would be sent to the tax office. Right, and so and then the tax office would match, hopefully try and find you, especially if you've given the super fund your tax file number. It's easy to find you the tax, and then they'll to tell you that you've got some super here. But before it was also difficult if you didn't give your employer your tax file number because people were not engaged. So you didn't give them a tax file number. Sometimes your name is misspelled, all that sort of stuff. But that's significantly changed. Most people have one super. If you've got more. You've got two super funds, you're paying two lots of management fees and all this sort of stuff. I would recommend that you generally recommend that you consolidate and have one fund. And again, it's easy for you to track your superannuation.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes sense. So before we round up part one of talking about super with Lawson, the highlight, so the constant theme of what we discussed in here today was be engaged. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I like the fact that because it's already happening, it's inevitable, it's being forced on us. Yeah. The government is saying, look, we are taking this money and we're saving this money on your behalf, whether you like it or not, right? It is the way Australia is running. You might as well be engaged. Yeah. And I suppose it helps those of us who are poor in saving. It's a thing of, you know what? It's happening already. I might as well engage, be a part of this journey, and see how it benefits me in 30, 40 years' time.
That's correct. No, definitely. Yes, yeah. It is just part of how things run here. Yeah.
Be engaged, be a part of it.
So yes, definitely. That's why, because you have the choice of how it's invested.
Yep.
You even have a choice of which superannuation fund you want to use.
You can keep moving it, I imagine. Yeah?
If you want to.
Yep.
But if you've chosen one, then let's stick with it.
Stick with
Most
it, yeah.
superannuation funds now are very competitive. It's people go on. Does it have fees? Does it have this? The fees. It's a very competitive industry in that space now in terms of just fees. So fees alone, I don't think should determine where you end up. Yes, they're important. Obviously, if you're paying exorbitant fees, definitely move. But of course, then the choices of how you invest, the choice of where to invest your money also makes sense. Access to that, to the information in that super fund is also important.
Yeah.
You want to be able to log in and see your balances and what you can do, and any other things that the super fund is able to offer.
That's good. I like it. Okay, to all of you guys out there in YouTube world, please be engaged. We come in again next week with episode 2 of talking about our super with Lawson. So I advise you've seen all the way through to the end. Subscribe, like, share. Most importantly, put a comment. It could be a question, it could be a thought, or whatever the case is. Put it in there so we can take it to our expert and we can build on it. Thanks for being a part of us. Thank you, Lawson. It was a good session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
Love
guys.
that.
Catch you later.
Catch you later.
Peace.